I don't know. I was positive I selected the right episode number. And either way, hello everyone and welcome back to the stream. This should be the final episode for Venusaur, because we already got to Elite Four. We attempted to get through it. Gengar decided that they wasn't gonna have it. Was that really what the last three are? Just because, yeah, that was before the league. I went and I took out a guy, and this was my preparation for the league. Anyways, so because of this, I'm going to cover the set of routes that I didn't get. Excuse me. And I'm going to go ahead and get some X items while I'm at it. Because, yeah, trying to go, like, Agatha essentially, yeah, because Agatha did the thing, yeah, it sucks. So I'm going to do this little section here, and then basically the section, like, you know, that area right there. Even if I'm probably going to be getting more, I thought that guy left after you get it. I don't know how much, like, I don't know how much this is actually going to do. I feel like it's more for the money. Excuse me. After that, you're going to buy a bunch of X items. Hopefully we can get it after that, because, like, yeah. It's odd. Why is it not showing up? Okay. I was about to say, I'm like, wait a minute. I do like this song, and I kind of wish it wasn't, messed up. Like, constantly stopped by having to do these different battles, but... Okay, for those of you wondering what's going on, essentially, I'm trying to find out the best starter Pokemon by basically solo running, being Fire Red and Leaf Green, using only those Pokemon. I already did Charizard, and I'm about to finish Venusaur. This should be the last one. Now, with that, I am going to take into consideration... There's things I'm going to take into consideration about how it is. For example, if the Pokemon can learn it naturally, if it's an HM, it is not going to... it's not going to be what I consider a detriment to the Pokemon. Meaning, if I have to use an HM, then that's fine. Because they're really renewable and all that things like that. I might have a little bit of an issue about when you get to use it. For example, Blastoise, he's gonna have to get Water Gun until he can finally get Surf, so that's gonna be a thing. But the fact that I'm using an HM is not basically. I don't know why my nose feels so weird. Anyways, so that's essentially yeah. Now. I'm not using any TMs or the little teacher guys because that are one-time use. So that means, yeah, I have Earthquake, but I'm not going to use it. Because most likely, you're not going to use Earthquake on a Venusaur anyways. Excuse me. Sorry. Anyways, so most likely, you're not going to be using a Venusaur, Earthquake on a Venusaur anyways. So, the goal is just figure out, you know, how well it can do without having to use items. Because sometimes, you honestly, when you play through, you might actually, not care about what TMs you use. Other times you might, you know. So that's why the goal is to not use it at all. Yeah. So either way, so that's the thing. Now, purchasable TMs, they are technically allowed. They have a little bit of a caveat, simply because, I mean, you do have to spend money on them, but I'd say they're not as bad, because typically, by the time you get it, you're going to be able to get access to it. Not that much of a difficulty. But Game Corner TMs are different. They're technically usable, but it's going to take you a lot of money just to get one. Just to get one. And for some of these, like, you're not even really going to get access to it unless you, like, start, like, using the Versus Seeker to grind to get money and stuff. So, generally speaking, you're not really going to, be getting money and stuff. I do kind of wish I would have already did this. But poor guy. It's never won before. Interesting. Don't know why I used that, but anyways, so again, so yeah. So right now, basically, this is my moveset. There isn't much else I can really do, and generally, unless you're actually, no, to be honest, unless you actually are, using your TMs, this is like the best moveset you're going to get. Yeah, you could swap out Sleep Powder for like Poison Powder, right? And that's your prerogative. I prefer Sleep Powder because, I guess there are times I could see Poison Powder might be a little bit nicer, but generally speaking, Sleep Powder is just a little bit nicer. But like I said, yeah, you could do like Sleep Powder and Poison Powder, or Stun Spore, whatever you want of the ones he can learn. But it's going to be some combination of that. Generally, I prefer Sleep Powder, Leech Seed. Not going to make that much of a difference, really. Yeah. So, and then, yeah, your best Leaf move is still, unless you decide to opt for Solar Beam, which, again, you can replace one of the others with Solar Beam. The problem is it's still a 2-turn move, so you're still going to be taking a hit in between you getting to use Solar Beam. So that's kind of on you on whether you want to use it or not. Outside of that, your Strength, assuming you don't want to lock down only like Grass type moves, Strength is a good secondary move. And if you want to give strength to a different Pokemon for like to divvy out your HMs or whatever, you can also give it cut. It's weaker than strength, yes, but admittedly, it's better than tackle, funny enough. Which, yeah. So if you're not going to be giving him, like, strength or whatever, yeah, I'd recommend, like, if you're gonna giving him cut. Otherwise, you know, if you want to do Solar Beam, I don't know how I can learn Sunny Day. Obviously, I'm referring to playing through the game. This is not competitive type stuff or whatnot. You know, that would be a completely different moveset. You'd be wanting to use TMs, blah, blah, blah. So no, this is, yeah, playing through the game. I definitely recommend your two main, like, you definitely want to have at least two main moves that you can use, like, generally at the least 15 or more power points. Preferably more. You know, you definitely want one of them to be, like, 20, you know, as, like, your main, like, attacking move and things like that. So, again, two primary moves used for attacking, and the rest you can use for other things. Like, some of the biggest reasons is simply because, like, you don't, like, nothing is more disappointing when you feel like you have to return back to the Pokemon Center because you're out of power points. HP is a different thing in itself. Excuse me. And you can actually do things to circumvent HP with, like, potions and stuff. But you can't really do that with power points. Well, I say that. But, obviously, not in this game, sadly. But yeah, like, if you can get one that has berries, Lepa berries, you know, you get them, like, if you're playing, like, Ruby and Sapphire, and you have the berry glitch fixed, which I'm assuming with if and when they come to Switch, like, I have a feeling they're going to. They probably didn't do it this time because they wanted to, similar to, like, Gen 1 and 2 coming to 3DS, that's probably their goal. Sometime later this year, they'll announce Ruby and Sapphire. Like, okay, later this year / beginning of top of the year or whatever. So, the top of next year, they're going to announce and release Ruby and Sapphire, and then probably a little later, they'll do Emerald. They did the same thing with Gen 1 and 2, right? I don't remember if they actually released Yellow at the same time, now that I think about it, but they did release Red and Blue, potentially Yellow, so I think they did Gen 1 all at the same time. Then they released Gold and Silver separately, some months, I think like 5-6 months later. And then, I think 2 months after that is when they released Crystal. Because I was actually looking up because I was curious. So that's probably what, I have a feeling that's probably what they're going to be doing. So back to that thing. Really, Lepa berries are like, yeah, like, you can plant them, and as long as you come back to them and get them, they're not bad, you know, 10 power points. Unfortunately, there's not really a decent way to get berries, or at least, like, plant them and stuff in Fire Red and Leaf Green. So you don't really get those, like, advantages you could otherwise gotten. Yeah. So, like I said, at least have two decent moves. You can have the third and fourth move you can use for, like, something status-wise, or, something, you know. or like your solar, like your uber powerful moves like Solar Beam, Hyper Beam, Fire Blast, etc. You don't want to have you don't want to have a move that has like only 5 slots in as like one of your main ones. Granted, again, you have to remember if you're doing a full team, it's not going to be as bad, but generally, like, at least the way I play it when I'm doing a full team, or at least more than one, is I'll have the weakest one out front, and then whenever it gets to, like, whenever it levels up to at least one more above the others, or at least caught up, like, for example, let's say I have, like, right now I have let's say I have an 8, a 9, and 2 10s, right? The way I do it, typically, okay, I probably wouldn't have the 8 and 9, except maybe towards the beginning. Yeah, because usually it's, I'll have, like, you have to switch. Usually how I'll have it is, again, I'll have your, so you have your 8 and your 9, and then, in this case, typically that only would probably happen if it's towards the beginning, so I guess, anyways. So, it more, the more case would be like, I'd have like 3 9s and then a 10, right? So, I'd take the 1 9 and I'd double up to level 10, and I'd swap it with one of the 9s until if they're all level 10. The exceptions to this is during gyms, or during a fight, or during like special fights. I'm like, okay, this is gonna suck if I try to use like let's say Venusaur is my main guy, right? And I'm literally about to go fight the rival, right? And of course he lives with Pidgeot. I might like swap something else out just to deal with that first Pokemon. But yeah, outside of that, gyms tend to be the only other one that I tend to do, which is I'll lead with whatever like is my main guy to take on the gym. You know, so if I'm facing Misty, you know, my Venusaur will probably be out front, and maybe my Abra won't, you know, something like that. Well, maybe not Abra. That's actually a bad example, because most likely if I had an Abra, I would have him out front. But let's go with, I'm facing Surge, and I'll have like, I actually haven't really used the Diglett, but let's say if I did, I'll have Diglett out front to take on Surge, while my Squirtle will be in the back. You know, stuff like that. Will I do this little thingamajig for Ruby and Sapphire? I can. I think it'd be interesting. The only problem is I do feel like if I did, I would have to do it for both. Like, I'd have to do it like a run for each one. Now, why? Well, because unlike Fire and Leaf Green, Ruby and Sapphire, the evil team you face is based off the version you play. You do face off against Team Magma in Ruby, and then Aqua and Sapphire. And since that is going to be a good chunk of like the Pokemon you face, it will make a difference, you know. So for example, you pick Mudkip. Mudkip is gonna do pretty well against Team Magma with their primary fire and ground type Pokemon, but you go up against Team Aqua, and it won't have the same effect, you know. Same thing with kind of Blaziken, and then of course Trico would be interesting because again, Magma does fire, yes, but they also throw in some ground types, because, you know, magma is like molten lava, and it's kind of like fire, like a mixture of fire and ground. And just saying that just makes me, I kind of just want to, I just want to play Dragon Quest Builders. An awesome game, by the way, which, if you're wanting to know, yeah, the guys who made Dragon Quest Builders 1 and 2 are the same guys who made Pokopia. And that's why I knew, like, oh my goodness, they made the same thing. So I'm like, that's why I haven't even played Pokopia yet, and I already know why. I'm like, this is why I know this game's good, because again, those guys made it, and they are pretty good. Like I said, Builders 1 and 2, awesome games. Obviously, like any game, you know, there's some slight changes that I wish you could make with it. But other than that, yeah, like I said, they are great games. As games, of course. And I was really hoping for a Dragon Quest Builders 3. Because, for those of you who don't know, but essentially, the Dragon Quest Builders games was taking the original, I don't know if it's a trilogy or a 4 games. I think it's called like the Eric trilogy or series or something. There's some game that's like, there's some character who's like in like all of them. I don't think it's like the actual playable character. Either way, like in the very first Dragon Quest games or whatnot, like the Builders was kind of like, it kind of was a weird kind of spin-off of each of them. For example, the first game, Dragon Quest Builders 1, that game was like set in a world where the hero decided, like apparently in the original one, in the original Dragon Quest game, I don't think this is spoilers. I hope not. So, in case you're wondering, yes, there's a spoiler warning just in case. But towards the end of the original Dragon Quest, the hero is given, or Dragon Warrior in the U.S., the hero is given a choice on to basically like side with the Dragon Lord or not, right? And that's the choice they're given. It's gonna basically Dragon Quest Builders set up in like an alternate universe where the hero actually decided to side with the Dragon Lord instead of taking him out. And it takes place sometime after that. So that's a pretty cool thing. In the second one, it takes place actually after the events of the second game. There's a little bit more to it than that, but I'm not going to spoil that. So play the game. It can be fun. Yeah, it takes place after the events of that. You find this out in the at the very beginning, you know. So either way, I enjoyed it. Fun game. Obviously, I have some slight issues with, like, some of the things that makes it hard for me to fully recommend games is because I'm, like, a Christian, and I really don't like certain, story points. Like, I don't know. I just don't kind of, like... Usually, if there's a god in it, I want it to be the one true god. It feels always weird, but at the same time, it doesn't bother me as much if they make it some other... Like, that's why Marvel doesn't bother me with, like, their Greek mythology and things like that, because it's not trying to take, you know, the actual god, right? So, it doesn't bother me. It's fantasy stuff. But if they try to throw something in there, like, for example, I tried to get into the Golden Compass, but I couldn't. I hated it. I hate it when they take again, various like Christian principles and things like that, or just like Christian stories, things like that, and bring it in. Granted, it can also bother me a little bit if, let's say, like, even if, like, for example, like, I guess it just feels a little weird to me. Like in X-Men, the 19 whatever series, there's like this whole thing about like we're talking about Jesus, and like I love the fact how it put him in like good light and stuff. That was a misclick. I love that fact, but a lot of times it makes me wonder, like, okay, wait a minute, this wouldn't actually happen, and like if this, you know, mutants aren't actually a thing outside of, you know, obviously they're genetic anomalies, like redheads are genetic anomalies, however you say that word. Like, you know, which is why I'm a mutant, you know. But oh cool, the spell check got it right at least. Oh no, spell check, the chat thing. Anyways, so either way, so that's the point. At least of those who are watching this on Facebook. I don't know if it only shows it if you have it muted or if you're just seeing it in the feed or whatever, but yeah. I don't even know how many people are actually watching on Facebook. On Facebook, say hi. Hi. Anyways, so that's why certain things, but Golden Compass took it to a different level. They went back and honestly, it's a spoilers for it, but this is the thing. Basically, the whole concept, one of the concepts of the Golden Compass is you have these like spirit animal type things that are attached to you, and they go like daemons or whatever, and they got to this part where there's big bad. I don't remember exactly what they're doing, but then he got into Genesis, like the book of Genesis, and he's like, and Adam and Eve were attached to a daemon. No, once you start manipulating scripture, I'm done at that point. I also dislike it when they try to do things like that in horror movies, but it's usually, that's just one more reason why I don't like horror movies in general. But sometimes I can look past it. Other times I'm like, no, this is like a big plot point. I try to get past it, and in the next book, immediately start talking about witches in heaven and angels or something like that. I'm like, okay, I have to stop. That's why generally I don't like it when they include like angel lore. Like, it's funny, it doesn't bother me doing demon lore stuff, because that can be fantasy type thing, and I just don't care. I'm not saying there aren't actual demons, because there are. I'm saying in a fantasy setting, you could do whatever you want for like demons and stuff. Even though yeah. I still don't remember what he was using. Anyway, so back to the thing. Another one I couldn't get into was Supernatural. Oh, I see, that's the thing. When it started, I loved this show. Because here's the thing. I say I don't like horror movies, right? But that's typically because of just how they're handled, right? Because a lot of times, you know, assuming they don't go, like, try to throw in, like, Bible stuff or whatever. But, like, again, monster things like that, the lore, the creepy stuff, things like that, that's always fine. But, like, first off, the emphasis on horror I don't like. You know? I don't watch it to be scared. But I can enjoy a fun little, like, monster movie type thing. But that's one thing Supernatural did. They took all the things I liked about the horror things. And yeah, you can have suspense, you can have, like, creepy moments, things like that. But admittedly, the fact that it feels like the hero is, or the main character really, feels like they're always being chased and blah blah blah. It's like, anyway, that's just one of the reasons why I liked about it. Like, and plus, I felt like they always, a lot of times in all these, the hero always seems to lose, or the villain just doesn't get blocked. I don't know. Just some things I just generally just don't like about horror movies. Supernatural did it well, and then they started messing with the Bible stuff. First was the angels, and then they dealt a little bit with the end time stuff, which already bothered me. I attempted to get it again, and then it's a spoiler, I'm gonna say it, but apparently I'm not gonna actually say because I don't want to think. But either way, there's another thing that they did that I'm like, I can't do it. You know, the fact that they essentially made God a bad guy and all that. I'm sorry. No. Yeah. So, but another movie series I like, funny enough, is Tremors. Because, again, I typically don't like monster movies, but I feel like Tremors is more like the start of the series was typically more action comedy mixed with in a monster movie setting. Or it's more like a monster comedy, but without, not necessarily a spoof of it, but like you had a lot of just funny moments and things like that in my opinion it removed the scary parts of it you typically see in things like that. And yeah, I'm not saying, oh, I'm always scared anytime I want to watch a monster movie or something like that. That's not necessarily the thing. It's just I just don't enjoy that format of entertainment. You know? Anyways. So either way, like I said, I like the Tremor series is fun. It starts with essentially it being a little bit more action comedy with some thrown in monster movie stuff. And then it kind of turns into like an action thriller type thing where like they attack back and things like that. Awesome. I haven't seen the last one. I sadly got one part of it spoiled. Kind of not a big fan of it, and that's probably why I haven't heard it. I don't think they've done another one, because like, but like, okay, I guess I can kind of spoil it. Basically, it's been some years now, but long story short, in the last one, I don't know. Like, I kind of don't want to say it, but anyways, I'm just going to move on. So, either way, it's a series. It started off, you had a lot more comical elements and things like that, again, it didn't feel like your typical monster movie, which is why I liked it. And it was always a series that I liked to go and find out, because you had these cool creatures, and then you had, like, again, just the more interesting part with the character dynamics and things like that, and yeah, so I found it enjoyable. Sorry. I don't think I'm gonna get too much farther with levels. You only got like what, one extra level? I am gonna go ahead and grab the X items. Because, yeah, you've seen what happened. Like, I don't know if, I don't think that safeguard type thing, I don't know if it works against that in Curse. At the very least, I'm going to pick one up, just in case, and hopefully once I get to that point, you know, once I get to that point again, I won't have to deal with it. Yeah. Like I said, this should be the last episode for Venusaur. I probably will end it, and then even if I do decide to start up a second round or whatever, I am going to go ahead and pause it. So, yeah. Sorry, I'm working on fixing the title. I still will say that, as a risk of getting demonetized or something, I will say that I don't agree with the whole, so it's marked for kids. Like, here's my problem. It should be the opposite, right? As in, because, okay, the fact that something can be changed for kids, marked as for kids, and be unable to be removed, I disagree with. It should be the opposite. Meaning, you should have to manually mark something for kids, otherwise it can be marked as not for kids. Because it doesn't make sense otherwise. Because, like, the point is that the not for kids is for a specific group of individuals. Those two are obviously not kids. That being said, anyone can watch for kids content. That's kind of the whole point. You know, anyone can watch the for kids content. But not anyone can watch the not for kids content. Meaning, that's what I'm saying, it should literally be the opposite. I just start up a second round or whatever, I am going to go ahead and... Okay. It's weird. Because, like... And that's the thing. The fact that they are forcing videos that were otherwise not meant for... Now, I from what I understand, it has to do with ads, right? But, so I can kind of understand that. The fact that, you know, it has to do with the fact that legally you're not allowed to have ads. But in doing so, instead of just enforcing it that kids are not allowed on YouTube main, they're trying to force it to where you're not allowed to have ads on the video. But that still forces content that shouldn't be on there. That's the part that I disagree on. So, really, I think, like, I get it. So if anything, they should just have it so that, because, like, it's fine, whatever. If you want to set it up to where it cannot be monetized if it looks like it's going to be for kids, whatever. I don't agree that's how they should do it, but fine. But at the very least, it should not be forced on the kid's app. That's 100% true. Because I'm going to fly to wherever. Fuchsia. And then come back after restarting my PowerPoints. But like, yeah, like, it shouldn't be the opposite. You should not be forcing not kid content on the kids thing. I get there's an ad thing. Fine. If that's how they want to do it, if they don't want to force kids to not get if they don't want to force kids to only be on there, that's one thing. But you shouldn't also force it. You shouldn't also force it to be on the kids' things. You shouldn't. And I genuinely feel like it's getting into a different category issue that would be considered to be illegal. Anyways, so let's talk about Pokemon, because that's what we're doing. We're doing Pokemon stuff. Yay for Pokemon! Woo! Sorry. Like, I say that sometimes, and I don't necessarily mean sarcastically that when I kind of was a little bit being facetious, but... Okay, so, we might get to level 75. Maybe. Yeah, there's a possibility. I'm gonna go get me something to drink, so I shall return. I have returned. I don't know if you could hear that, but yeah, my mom was watching Bones in the other room. And yeah, it's weird. The speakers on my TV are weird. I kind of know if there's like a connection issue. Once again, sometimes it is perfectly there's not much of a difference. Other times it will have this really big bass type thing, you know. But then after that, there's occasional time we just completely shut off altogether. So which is why I have a feeling there's actually a connection issue. Or something, because like then, yeah, eventually it'll turn back on. So, I don't know. I won't lie. There's a part of me that kind of like wonders like what's... I don't know. Yeah, I'm gonna be using the X items. Because, oh, well, you're not fully... I mean, does it matter? Not really. You know, the purpose of it is because, like, again, this is just your typical thing, and this isn't, the solo run isn't just, oh, can you solo run with the starter? Obviously you can, You know, it's not a can it be done type thing. It's more to figure out which one's the better option. And your typical playthrough, you're probably gonna be using at least 3 Pokemon. You know, 3 to 4 Pokemon in your party. So that kind of helps make up the difference between them. And obviously, because anytime I don't feel like it, because for example, I'm not going to use an X item if I don't actually need to use the X item for certain battles. It's just to help me progress. And really at this point, you know. But yeah, so is it going to help me with, are the X items going to help me get through that? Yeah. And funny enough, as I think I've mentioned, why did you paralyze me? How dare you? Yeah, Oddish gets access to Acid, which is a nice, decent enough poison type move. Venusaur doesn't even get Acid. Like, what the heck? Like, I get it. I guess that's supposed to be part of the thing, but still. It's still weird to me, though, like, how many Pokemon, grass types are both Poison Hand. Like, yeah, both are dual Poison type. Like, correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't the only non-dual Poison type plant Pokemon, Tangela? But at that point, it's why not just make them all? Why not just incorporate poison into the plant type? You know? Or really, why do you even need a plant type? You just make them poison types. Alright, there's only a couple more. Maybe not a couple more. Maybe like a handful or so. Because there's these two here. There's, I think, 3 up top, including a double battle. And then, and I know at least there's, I think, 2 on the route going north. That's the interesting thing about Bulbasaur and the Bulbasaur line. They kind of look like little dinosaurs. Bogosaur. Sorry. Yeah, if you're not paying attention, they actually, especially Ivysaur looks more like, again, it kind of looks more like a little dinosaur. I think Venusaur is the biggest one that really makes it look more like an actual frog. Alright, we are making progress. Oh wait, it's for the money. I was about to say, what's the point of doing these if I don't think I'm gonna get another level out of it? Oh yeah, money. Anyways, I'm gonna buy some X items, and we'll try again. I don't think it's gonna be that bad. Yeah, because Agatha is unless you teach her Venusaur Earthquake for whatever reason, you're not gonna be using Venusaur during that battle anyways. So, yeah. Oh. I mean, we'll definitely get high enough so that we'll at least get to level 76 at some point. See, I don't remember. Did I use the islands, the Silver Island stuff? I don't remember. Huh. Hold on. I have returned, and my brother is here. He's complaining about our TV audio. Which, yeah. As I said, don't know what's wrong with it, except it's probably something's loose. Ugh. Charmander, and this glitter. Well, that wasn't very nice. I wonder, well, I was about to say, I'm like, I wonder why they haven't evolved them yet. But then again, Charmander and Squirtle are pretty cool, you know? And they're like little girls too, so like, yeah, it makes sense to me. They wouldn't want to have to handle like a large Blastoise or Charizard, you know? I think he's the last one on this one. There's just the little side route, which I think has a couple of guys in it. And then should be it. Well, and then the ledge area, which I know it has at least, I want to say 2 single battles and a double battle. Yeah, that reminds me about Pokemon Champions. It's weird, like, the reset not being, I think I mentioned that before, it's weird that it's not, well, where it's at. It's so weird. Like, the daily reset is, like, towards whatever. But then again, I guess,
TCG Live has also been has a weird reset time as well. I don't remember it being like that either. I'll be right back. Hopefully I got that roast thing out. That is the actual roast. Cause I'm seriously, did you get the roast out? Oh, did I? What if I am gonna get to level 76? Because there's more trainer battles than I was thinking was left. That's always fun. So, yeah. Alright, so... yeah, I might be going to get to level 76. That'd be cool.
Can you imagine, it's like, actually like looking at the stream and using that to try to figure out, like, as your screen? Keep thinking that, like, that was a section. Like, I think I remember having a dream one time where, like, you could find, like, Aerodactyl in that place. Yeah, it was, yeah, like I said, my dreams can be weird. So. Alright. These 4 Pokemons, and then the ones on the side of the road. You said be done. Okay. Alright, we will be getting to level 76. So if we wanted to, we could just skip them. Because we might be getting to level 76 at this level. I mean, this battle. There's that one there, those two, and her. I think Blastoise isn't doing this naturally. Alright, Clea with the fairy. Mian. And Ron. Alright, one last battle. +5. I mean, I guess you can try to beat me. I don't think it's gonna work, but you know, you could try. Now try to remember where to get the X moves are. I'm pretty sure you can get them at the department store. Alright, now we shall fly. Heal, so we have to do with that. There you go. Excuse me. Oh yeah, Blastoise can learn Brick Break. Yeah, he just gives you the TM. There we go. Should be all we need, I hope. Really not much of a department store. Alrighty. It is now time. You always gotta save right there in the middle of the Pokeball. That's how it works. Here we go. We are 2 levels higher than when we were the first time. So, hopefully this won't be so bad. That is fine. That is also fine. Yes, I'm well aware that I got 5 for those 1, but I'm probably only going to use it like on the champion battle.
Glad she didn't use a potion, because that would have been not very nice, especially after increasing her special defense. Now for Jinx. I am not dealing with her annoyance things. So where is my thing? That is not what I was hoping for. Oh, I don't have one? Wait, I have something. Right? Oh, I don't? Oh, wow. Huh. No, it only just reduces... keeps me from being able to get reduced whatever, you know? That's what I was trying to prevent. Come on. Come on. Because again, the only way to get rid of the love thing is by switching out. Thankfully, that's not the case for the other things. Okay. You're just wasting my PowerPoint, dude. Okay, now it's actually going to do something. Still. Thank you. Lorelai's done. You know what? I haven't used any power. Why not? Lorelai's too much of an annoyance. I have to keep
doing again. Now, if I use one of my elixirs or something, I will go ahead. I won't save. But, because Lorelei... Yeah, I guess I'm going to have to, aren't I? Ugh. 'Cause I think the goal is to get past Bruno and then save. And if I feel like I need to use the elixirs, which I will, most likely, yeah. 5% chance to miss. Yeah, it happens way more often than that. It's weird because it's positive there's like something you can use that also prevents like status and stuff. Yeah, usually if they heal, I mean if they use the berry, they won't heal immediately after. Which is super nice. You're gonna save. There. First thing I'm doing for Agatha is I am increasing my crit ratio. Forgot he does that. There you go.
I'm using at least one special. Like, he's just gonna keep doing that, so I might as well just boost my defenses and stuff. Anyway, hopefully when the Haunter does come out, I'm just gonna knock it out. Don't like that. I think I'm done using specials. Come on. Ah. Yeah, she's gonna heal. Thankfully, it doesn't get her a leech seed. Thankfully, it doesn't get her a leech seed. Because I'm like, I kind of don't want to just keep trying to spam the attack button. Okay. Oof, nice. Don't know if the crit mattered. I don't think it would have. Might not have. Yeah, Erica is just not as good. Immediately gonna try to kill this thing. Because we are not dealing with getting cursed. Good. Where he tries to do any shenanigans. Not bad. Shenanigans, but not bad. Which means they most likely won't try to heal, so I'm just gonna use a full heal. Yeah, he's gonna try to. Oh, he didn't use Sludge Bomb instead. That's fine. Anyway, this should, if it hits. Thank you. Nice guy. Oof. Because Yep, there's the heal. Okay,
Cool. All right, here we go. Yeah, and hyper beam range. You definitely want to get rid of that. Why is he only using Dragon Rage? Like, it's nice, but at the same time, it's like, why are you only using Dragon Rage? There's one more X attack, and then we're good to start finishing the job. That's because I know Charizard's going to be coming here soon. Good. Should be a nice, easy Razor Leaf. It's neutral damage, but it's stab neutral damage. And with all my special things, yeah, he's going down. This is doubly resisted, so we're going to use strength. Okay. Love to see that. Because then they won't heal, so I don't have to deal with them using the heal again. Alright. Whew. I thought he had a Charizard. I guess he only has it in the other game. Alright, here we go. Should work. Should work fine. We're going to start off, of course, by using our one thing, because he's going to want to use Sand Attack. I'll boost my accuracy to use an accuracy boost. That hopefully means that my Sleep Powder will hit more. So, first thing... Oh, yeah, let's start it out. Yep, knew it. Alright, next. We're going to keep him from wanting to do that. Oh, actually, we can go ahead and get this out of the way. You hit me with Aerial Ace. A lot more than what I thought it was going to be. Won't lie. But it's fine. I'm going to increase my accuracy. Which I should just be able to do a Sleep Powder. Sweet. Hit that. No, I'd rather not do that. Alright, Hyper Potion. Okay. I need to increase attack and special. Hitting a defense boost probably wouldn't hurt. I'll throw on one for now. Mostly because, yeah, I'm sure he's gonna stay asleep. There we go. If he wakes up, he's probably gonna use Aerial Ace. And if not, I can counter his Sand Attack. I'd rather get some of these going. Yeah, I think that's all the X attacks. I'm only gonna do 3 specials. I'm gonna heal because after I put him back to sleep. Mostly because I'm in I crit, I die range. Because I think it ignores certain stat buffs. Okay, sleep powers at 15. Okay, we should be good. I'm gonna do one more X defend, an X speed, and a second X accessory just to be sure. Ah, I'm gonna do 2 of those now. Darn it! No! It's all coming apart. Alright. We'll put this back up, and then we'll get started. Okay. It's 1 down. Next should be Charizard. Okay, that's fine. He goes down to strength. Nice. I don't think the crit mattered, but it's still there. Now it's Charizard. I'm going to put him to sleep. use Strength. Okay, the biggest threat's gone. We're almost done. 3 more to go. And put you to sleep because I don't like you. And he can do evil, mean things. Okay. Good. Executor's down. 2 more to go. Rhydon is an easy Razor Leaf. Okay. It's fine. First off, I'm going to put it to sleep. I won't lie, using X accuracy and then just sleep powdering everything is crazy. He survived. No, he's fine. He's still asleep. All right, that is fine. Hopefully, the move that already has the higher crit ratio will get the crit. Okay, it wasn't a crit, but all right, cool. Venusaur is the champion. Yay. Yeah. It is, see, and that's a weird thing, because, like, how many people actually use the X moves, right? The X items. Because just think about it. 1X accuracy, and you can just put everything to sleep. Obviously, I'm referring to more of your challenges, as opposed to, other things. So, I guess, if you use him for that, he's actually not that, he's definitely not that bad as a supporting role, I suppose. You know, you sleep them, you seed them, you move on, right? So I think that's definitely interesting between the two. That dynamic with Venusaur is the fact that he's a lot more of a support-based Pokemon, right? Because Charizard handles his business by himself, right? And that's probably your best thing about Charizard. Venusaur he struggles. Admittedly, I do wish his support moves, like, again, Sleep Powder and Leech Seed, I wish I had more power points, so then it was actually be a little bit more viable as an on-the-road strategy. Or at least had just a better... Like, seriously, why doesn't he have access to a good poison-type move? You know? That would help. But I suppose if you run Cut and or the other one, I guess it's not as bad. But like Venusaur, like again, because of the low power points and stuff, Venusaur is going to be there to help you get through challenges, especially if you use the X items. Right? Because you use that, you're going to get a guaranteed Sleep Powder, guaranteed Leech Seed, and then just start smacking him with Razor Leaf to get in those crits, unless you want to swap out to a different Pokemon. So, Yeah, so like on that aspect, Venusaur is better. The problem is that you do a lot of traveling. So you have a lot of lesser Pokemon, which in turn gives Venusaur less experience. Granted, you do have, again, Razor Leaf is... Like, Razor Leaf isn't terrible. The accuracy sucks, but you're going up against a lot of poison-type Pokemon. So... And part of it even also does depend on if or whether or not you're going to be using, you want to use items and stuff. I don't think a lot of trainers do. So his low accuracy stuff kind of hurts Venusaur. Because, and that's I guess there's not much you can really say about it, because like that's just kind of accurate. Venusaur's biggest problem is he could be decent for support. It would be better if he had better accuracy. But outside of that, when it comes to just traveling and stuff, yeah, it kind of sucks in that regard. New Zealand Foundation for the Blind. That's interesting. Alright. As I said, finished that. Admittedly, I do have a little bit of work I need to deal with before I do finish. Mostly because I'm going to have to transfer one of these save files to my other Switch so that I can reset it, which will actually, funny enough, be this one. Mostly because if I'm going to do it, I'd rather have at least one of the you know. Oh, yeah. Oak. Hello, Oak. Okay. Anyhow. Never mind, I have to go. The fact that you can't withdraw your Pokemon in your home is sad. I can do all that running, get back to your Pokemon Center. Alright. With that, as I said, I'm finished. With Leaf Green. I am gonna pause the episode for two reasons. The main reason is simply because I still need to transfer the thing. Plus, I would like the episode to be like separate, you know, because it makes sense. Yeah. I'm curious about how long it's going to take. It might be a little bit quicker. I don't know. Mostly because, again, Venusaur struggled with things like that. But Squirtle might not get that much additional stuff. Yeah, I am going to be using Brick Break on him. So, anyways, with that, thank you all so much for watching. the next episode, I'm gonna probably start Squirtle sometime later today. So yeah, that